Moving on now, the close contact isolation requirements, as we were discussing earlier, have been scrapped in New South Wales and Victoria, as both states do remove a raft of other COVID restrictions as well. Let's bring you a full wrap of what those changes are now. Julia Bradley joins us live from Melbourne with the details. Julia, what are close contacts now required to do there in Victoria?
Well, Ash, it really means that the onus is now on individuals, both in Victoria and New South Wales, to limit the spread of COVID-19 and ensure that they are doing the following things to prevent the spread of COVID, given that they're now no longer required to isolate for 7 days if they're a close contact of a positive case. So it is recommended that in both Victoria and New South Wales that these close contacts wear masks in indoor settings when they leave the home. They need to avoid sensitive settings such as hospitals, and they must also undertake regular rapid antigen tests. 7 rapid antigen tests required in New South Wales during that period, and at least 5 in Victoria. And it's also recommended that people work from home where practical. Now, these changes will kick in Victoria midnight Friday, 6 p.m. Friday in New South Wales, and it is expected that this will be a major relief to businesses, particularly in hospitality, given that this isolation requirement was creating a lot of staff shortages.
We've passed the peak, and that we are able to look to this group of sensible measures being able to take us into a still challenging winter.
Through this entire pandemic, it has never been set and forget. We are constantly monitoring the situation. We believe today's announcement is balanced, proportionate, and meets the circumstances that we find ourselves in as a state.
And Julia, it's not just that major change involving household contacts, is it? A heap of other restrictions have also been eased.
A raft of other COVID restrictions have been eased across Australia's 2 biggest states as we learn to live with COVID. In Victoria, one of the biggest ones is that there will be an end to the vaccinated economy as of midnight on Friday as well. So that means that people attending a pub, club, cafe, restaurant will no longer need to show their vaccination certificate and it proves that they have been vaccinated. They'll no longer need to check in via a QR code system either. There'll be no masks required in retail settings, schools, hospitality venues or at events, and all visitor restrictions for hospitals will be removed, but they'll still be required to wear masks in those settings. Crucially to note as well, Ash, there'll be no changes to vaccination mandates at this stage. In New South Wales, though, from the 30th of April, hotel quarantine will end across the state. Vaccine requirements, though, will be eased, contrary to what is going to be the case in Victoria, except for workers in a number of frontline industries, including aged care and disability workers. Public transport capacity caps will be lifted, meaning that green dot, which recommends physical distancing, will be removed. And leaders from both states have said that they're able to ease some of these remaining COVID restrictions, given that the peak of the Omicron wave has now passed.
Julia Bradley, live there in Melbourne. Appreciate the update. Thank you.